For our second flipping session, we are working on, as you can see, similes and metaphors. And this is a quick review. I know we've been talking about similes and metaphors since elementary school, probably around 3rd grade. But as an 8th grade teacher, I know that is an area that we can get easily confused because they are similar. I like to tell my kids that they're cousins. And there's a reason for that. What makes them related is that they're both comparisons. All right, I want to start with simile, probably because it's my favorite. All right, simile is a figure of speech. That's why it falls under the umbrella of figurative language. And that's the sophisticated vernacular name for it. Once you get to middle school, you need to think about it as part of figurative language. So simile is a figure of speech that is a direct comparison of two things. I know in elementary school you probably already are saying in your head, yes, two things using the words like and as. But it's something, we actually have other words that can be used beyond like or as. We have like, as if, than, but also it can use verbs. And I think about, verbs such as resembled. So we can say that, let's think about one. She resembled Mona Lisa. So you have to understand the illusion of Mona Lisa. What is Mona Lisa? One of the most famous works of art in the Louvre in Europe. And Mona Lisa is, honestly, she's not that attractive to me. But the thing that makes her attractive is the fact that it's a priceless piece of work. So if somebody says, she resembles Mona Lisa, it's saying that she is priceless. That, that person is priceless. So, metaphor. For spelling purposes. Metaphor, simile's cousin. Again, figure of speech that describes a subject, but it's a description that is usually of two unrelated objects. So, we have shoe and ice. Usually don't go together, right? But what if I said that the shoe was ice on his foot? What is it saying then? It was a cold shoe. All right. So you wouldn't usually see shoe and ice together, but that comparison lets you know that the shoe was cold. And let me see. Let's go back to Cinderella. I know I used that in the first story because folks, most of us remember the fairy tale of Cinderella. So I just wrote down some similes and metaphors for you. The first one is Cinderella was like a giddy debutante as she danced with the prince. So you have to, again, understand the illusion of debutante. And that reminds me that I'll have to do a session on illusion. So that might be our third session. But getting back to this one. Cinderella was like a giddy debutante. You have to know what a debutante is. And that's actually a formal coming of age ceremony that people have. I was a debutante twice. And you just think about that whole issue of it's a coming of age celebration. And that's something that you think about, a young lady going from immaturity to maturity. And so I could just think of her dancing like a giddy debutante. It's that excitement of being with the prince. Another one, Cinderella looked at the prince as if he were Adam. Again, a lot of illusions here. Who's Adam? First man on earth. So if she's looking at the prince as if he's Adam, she's looking at him as if there's nobody else out there on the dance floor for her. He's the only person that she's looking at. Cinderella's stepmother was a snake as she hissed demands to her stepdaughter. Again, so the first two that I gave you, Cinderella was like a giddy debutante and Cinderella looked at the prince as if he were Adam. These were similes because they used the word like and as. But that last one that I gave you, Cinderella's stepmother was a snake as she hissed directives or demands to her stepdaughter. That's a direct comparison with Cinderella's stepmother and a snake, but it does not use like, as if, than, or a verb such as resemble. So that last one is a metaphor. I hope that helps you out. Thanks.